of where if you've got a breach notification or some aspects where you've lost data breach or something, there are, and you're right, I was staying away from that. So the data breach laws, so there are positive authorities from that aspect. If they deal with classified information, they've got to report it. So there's a whole host of aspects where they could have an affirmative duty. Thanks for bringing that up. There could be a whole host of factors where they have an affirmative duty to report it. I'm talking about, I'm talking about a very limited set here for private companies, unclassified information, non-national security, no other, just a breach. Is there an affirmative duty to report the crime? If I can't pigeonhole it into, well, wait, you got data breach here, you got to report that under several state laws, HIPAA, Sarbanes-Oxley, a whole bunch of things. Right, there could be that affirmative duty to do it. But in this, and I'm just talking about the other aspect that we're dealing with right now, which is the aspect of private company from that, no affirmative duty to report it from that aspect. Well, no. You see, you're going down the criminal path of an aspect of extortion or something like that. I mean, anytime I get a computer security incident or intrusion, the question becomes what that category is going to have to fall over if I need to report it. If it's a breach of my system in terms of the classic where give us $10,000 and we'll bring your site back up. Okay, well if that's private company from that aspect, and I've just been I got a nice little flaw here, and I'm like, okay, great. Do I have to report that? I'm not seeing an aspect. Now here's the fun aspect about obstruction of justice charges. Okay, so this wasn't just Google. There were several other companies that this was related to. So once the information becomes knowledge that they're talking in the government, is there an affirmative duty on the government to tie ends together from that aspect of it? And so there's a whole host of things that come in this. So what's Google supposed to do? What's a private company supposed to do if they want to bring information to the government? As we know, everybody's got friends, partners, colleagues that have gone on and worked at different places. So information is going to come into the government in a variety of fashions. From, again, black letter aspects of law and what's up there, FBI criminal jurisdiction over, investigations of computer crimes. Your CERT has a method for getting it in there, and there could even be an argument made that NSA, because they have an information assurance mission for the .mil, that they have a mission in it. So it's one of those areas that we're all looking at. So, come on. All right, cyber attacks. One of the aspects, because every time we hear something, we see it's an attack. We've been attacked. This is an attack. As far as I know, and I'm in that camp where the United States has never suffered a cyber attack. Now, my genesis or my foundation for saying this, because the President of the United States is the only person who makes a determination on whether we've been attacked. Based on the totality of the circumstances that he is faced with, his objective and subjective belief, he steps up and says, this is an attack. Pearl Harbor, 9/11, the bombing of the embassies, things of that nature. These are all made by one and one person only, the President of the United States. And so far I haven't heard him, actually this is the problem I've got. I could lose my job. Sorry, Mr. Obama, President. They always say, we're under attack. This is a cyber attack. I do hear them saying that. I don't think they're correctly using it, because that would invoke a whole bunch of things that no one's saying. Multiple agencies do cybersecurity. We've talked about that. This is what I get for using my kid's clicker. All right, that's where I want to go back to. Sean. All right. Apologize, this is at the bottom. Sean Condren wrote a very good law review article about dealing with this. Homeland Security is the Department of Homeland Security's job. Hey, it's in the title. Defense is the Department of Defense. If it's an attack, the Department of Defense has jurisdiction. If it's security, Department of Homeland Security would have jurisdiction. So, from that. Now, this goes back where words are very important. When you go back out there, please, please, use your words carefully, because you're going to be dealing with attorneys or policymakers. And by the way I say this, this Moore's Law, Metcalfe's Law, I'm trying to push Clark's Law out there. It's not very well known. But it's for the legal profession. You're dealing with lawyers. You need to explain it to us in a third grade level so we can understand the technology. We're not geeks. We know it's chic to be geek. We wish we were. The reason we became lawyers is because we couldn't become geek. The only thing we know how to do with math is take a third of whatever it is and go home. All right? And we know how to have the 3 martini lunch. Notice how we work in threes, thirds, threes. So you need to explain it at a 3rd grade level, because I need to turn around and explain it to a judge at a 1st grade level. So get involved early and often with your attorneys. Also, pick your words carefully. If it's a security event, say that's an event. Years ago, the very first guy I had who gave me a migraine after 5 minutes of being on my first job in technology, he said, "What's the law of the internet?" I said, ECPA, this, that. And then he goes, "No, RFC." And of course, I'm brand new, and I'm like, I have no idea what the hell RFC means at all. But law of the internet, definitions. If it's an event, call it an event, incident, intrusion, call it that, attack, call it that. Use your words carefully. If you've got someone really hammering your network and it's only your network, call it an intrusion. Now, there are definitions in DoD of what attacks, defense, exploitation, and operations are. There's definitions of what a hostile intent is, what a hostile act is, in terms of whether we can now put forward the standing rules of engagement. And by the way, the standing rules of engagement give us our sliding scale of how we can respond, and they are there for the cyber world also. In the other direction of the cyber Pearl Harbor, Paul Ohm, who's a fellow colleague from DOJ, wrote a great article about the myth of the super user. All right? And it basically says, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria, the whole aspect of it. Well, he kind of went back and said, look at who's going to actually take down the network and who would want to. And it even gets into the whole aspects of getting down to the people that you think would want to do it if you can't control it. And even if terrorists wanted to take it down, do you think the people who are funding them would be really pissed off if their funding and their problems were going down the drain because they lost the internet of it? So, yes, we need to do several things to secure our networks better than what we're doing now. We need to have the technology, the innovation to move forward on this. But the hyperbola that we're getting of this threat and the concept that it's going to happen, that we're going to have a cyber Pearl Harbor, I kind of pull back on that a little bit. Let's see. Again, one of the arguments I always hear is, well, there's such little research done on cyber warfare, cyber attacks. The legal community really hasn't looked at it that much. We really need to develop this. We really need a law. We really need, deterrence strategies. Something. The work has been done. It's out there, and it's easy to find if you're in the field ad nauseum from our aspect. This is what I should get. So as we can see, it's there. The last thing I'm going to point out is there's a move to reform the Electronic Communication Privacy Act. The Digital Due Process, digitaldueprocess.org is moving. It's got everybody signed up for it. I think Microsoft, Google, Yahoo, everybody signed up for it. You've got a lot of leading scholars on this from Oren Kerr of George Washington University, EFF, and a whole bunch of folks are looking to try to bring the Electronic Communications Act up to speed with the communications and the technology that are going on. So if you're curious about that, you can dive in with those folks and take a look at that. Oh, and that was it. So my contact information just went right by. Maybe that's a good thing on it. So see if I can get contact information up. Any questions?